Okay, so I have a couple extra journals, and it's been a very interesting learning experience. But so this is the one I made for my wife. So we can get it in the shot there. Now all the materials except for the paper pretty much have been free, except for buying stuff for the attic. This was a purse that my wife bought at the attic, and she wanted me to make something with it, so I made a journal for her. And I made it out of the really nice Japanese paper. And the strap, I really think the strap is too bulky, but I really like the way it turned out here. And because of this, I got my first custom order for a journal. Based on this design, I couldn't get the leather because I was having to dye the leather. So I could only use what I had available. I did have a purple ink, but it turned out sort of a bluish purple. So this one, all the materials were free except for the paper. It's gonna look blue in the video. Let's see here. Yeah, kind of bluish, but it is a purple. Just doesn't show up that way. So again, soft cover, purple pages, very nice Japanese paper, and then the button here was given to me by the same guy who gave me the leather, and so I added that, which is pretty cool. And I added the stitching in the back, and because that's one of the things that she liked about it. I really hope she's okay with the color. Couldn't really come out any other way because that's the only thing I had to dye leather with. So there's that one. Well, I did buy some brown leather dye. So this is the same leather. This is the same free leather that the blue journal was, but the texture looks a little different. I'm not sure why that is. Anyway, so this is the color of the leather with this like blue gray, and I did not like that really. So I did dye the leather brown. This is a hard cover, and Japanese paper again. I really just am a big fan of the Japanese paper, and I don't know if you can tell, but the leather is super thick, so when I go to roll it over, it just makes really thick corners. And you're supposed to be able to I'm not sure what the term is, but basically shave off layers of leather with a really sharp knife. And paring, you're supposed to be able to pare the leather down so it's thin when you fold it over. And I don't have a paring knife, and I did try and do a couple things, and you know, you can only do what you can do. So that's number 3. This one here is made from a fake leather, and I'm not exactly sure where my wife got this. I think she bought just a whole bunch of fake leather one time at the attic, and this is much thicker. Well, this little leather makes this look thicker, but there's actually less pages than the Japanese paper because it's like a parchment paper. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's definitely thicker. And sort of depending on what you want, this might appeal more. And I like the way that these turned out. Okay, so here's a good example. Made from exactly the same material except for the difference in paper. So this has got 196 pages that you can write on. It's 200 pages, but the 2 pages on the front and the back get sacrificed to get the binding on. So it's almost 200 pages you can write on. This is less than 150. I think it's 140, and it's that thick. But I still think it's a pretty cool paper, and it's not as fancy, but I think a lot of people like the thick, heavy parchment paper as far as the feel goes. This is pretty cool. This was supposed to be a set. I was going to do one soft cover and one hard cover. The hard cover is here. The soft cover didn't turn out and I had to scrap it. But this was out of a handbag found at the attic. And again, with the parchment paper, thick, kind of a nice sturdy feel to it. And I really wish I would have had the set. That would have been cool. This next one, so the guy who gave me the leather and the buttons, he wanted a little journal. I guess you might call it a field journal, just something to write down stuff you can put in your pocket or a bag. It's not going to take up a lot of space. So you can see the difference in size. You know, I did it so that it would be smaller. And I'm going to give this to him. It's, you know, not really a gift, it's a trade. Because that's what he wanted for a bunch of free leather. And I gave him back one of his buttons because I thought that was pretty cool. That is a moose. I don't know if you can tell that it's a moose. And this is made from the parchment paper because he wanted kind of a thick stock paper. And I thought it was a pretty cool little journal the way it turned out. I don't know if he's going to like that button. It's not going to be, it has a thicker profile obviously. And it's kind of not going to be able to slide into a pocket too easily, but you can always take the button off and I'll take it back. Alright, so that's so the first journal I put on Facebook, that video, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is a gift. The one I made my wife is obviously a gift. So I have 2, 4, I have 5 journals for sale. One's already sold. Hopefully she'll buy it because that's what she wanted. These, you know, these are $60. There's a lot of labor that goes into it, and every time I go, you know, I work on a book, there's always something in my back of my head that says I need to make something to make it easier, and it does get easier every time. $60. Now, sorry, I'm not trying to make this into a sales pitch, but I am just letting everybody know that this is something that I'm doing with my life. Hopefully it turns into something to provide for the family and I can maybe make some money at it. Now these leather journals are supposed to be $100 journals, right? And if I had the proper leather, if I had, you know, the proper knowledge on how to dye and condition, and if I had all the proper experience, this would easily be a $100 journal. I'm not sure what I want for it. I would love to ask for 100, but I feel like I'm still in such a learning beginning stage that 100 might be much. Maybe I'll price this at the $60 for like the rest of them. This journal turned out pretty good. Like $100, I guess, for this would be okay. The color is a little bit off, and there was a couple issues that I had to work around, but overall I think it actually did turn out pretty nice. And it is, you know, a custom journal with, you know, it's all handmade, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna let the lady decide what she wants to pay for it. I'm not gonna ask for $100. I think maybe $60 or $80. I don't know. All right, so that's the update. And like I said, you know, I'm not posting this on Facebook to try and get orders, but this is just something that I'm into. It's really fun. It's kind of an odd hobby, and if I don't sell any of them, I'm kind of okay with that because, well, I mean, it would be nice to sell a couple just to get my money back. I probably have a couple $100 in paper and supplies and stuff, just to make the equipment to make the books. Glue and anyway, but I kind of like journals. I mean, I don't really use them that often, but I don't know, it's definitely a fun experience. So alright, so that's the update. Thanks everyone for putting up with the video, and catch you on the next one.